Dachin caught sight of something that looked like a crow, and was startled by its red eyes. It seemed to be playing hide and seek with her as it led her into the kitchen. Then it zipped right into the stove, leaving Dachin empty-handed in the crow-catching department. Dachin felt a bit bummed, thinking, if I had filmed that, I would have gone viral. But when she returned to the monitor, rain began pouring from the sky. Then, an astonishing scene appeared on the monitor as Xiaomi's stats plummeted like a roller coaster drop. Before long, it hit 0.0 MHz, the local legend's magic number to summon a spook. Meanwhile, Xiaomi suddenly opened her eyes as if roused from sleepwalking, pushed the door open, and stood blankly, ignoring Dachin's shouts. But then Xiaomi turned her head, revealing her snow-white eyes, which shocked Dachin into a state of stupor. Thankfully, it was just a dream. Well, at least that's what she thought. The door stood wide open. A gust hit Dachin. She rushed over and saw Xiaomi gone, only Omu sleeping. She woke Omu up, blissfully unaware of the half-dreaming doll behind her. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu heard the ruckus and decided to join the search party. She was ready to drag Xiaoyu along to hunt for Xiaomi, but Xiaoyu suddenly yanked her back. Subtitle warned not to go out as something was at the door. Xiaoyu then fainted, and Omu finally found Xiaomi in the kitchen. Xiaomi stood there in a daze in the corner, and Omu thought she was just goofing off until she turned around mid-sentence and fainted. It was as if something was yanking at her, pulling her in halfway. What a dramatic exit. Omu and Dachin, totally freaked out, grabbed her legs and desperately tried to rescue her. But just as they managed to pull her back, they saw black hair sprouting all over Xiaomi's face, and they froze in horror. They couldn't believe their eyes and let go in shock, losing their grip on her leg completely. Tension hit them hard, and they realized this nightmare was just getting started. They quickly made a run for it. Dachin frantically gathered all the gear, while Omu searched behind the house for a heavy rock. Suddenly, Dachin heard a familiar voice crackle from the radio. It was definitely Xiaomi's voice. Bravo, Omu, who returned with the rock. He saw Dachin in a daze and smashed the radio. Then he shouted Xiaomi's name loud enough to wake the neighbors, finally catching a faint reply from her in the corner. Omu and Xiaoyu came back, crazily pounding the ground, unaware that those strange hairs were wrapping around Xiaomi below. Subtitles. Eventually, those black hairs swiftly stretched out towards her ear. However, when Omu and the others successfully pried open the ground and peeked inside, they discovered that those black hairs had vanished again. But Omu didn't have time for that. He pulled Xiaomi out of her nightmarish trance, and they all rushed towards the car. Just when everyone gathered, Xiaoyu woke up suddenly, asking if Xiaomi's gloves were still alive or what. With an awkward expression, Omu responded, "What on earth are you talking about? That's absolute rubbish." Due to this reckless decision, they truly ran into trouble, and things unfolded in the most unexpected ways. Later, after some checks, it turned out Xiaomi only had minor injuries but couldn't wake up. Back at the hotel, Omu started reviewing last night's footage. Watching what happened to Xiaomi, she chuckled, clearly pleased with the footage, and called the Go Show producers. She told them she'd charge more this time. If not, she'd sell the footage to other shows. Meanwhile, in the next room, Xiaoyu was trapped in a nightmare. She was drenched in sweat, unable to open her eyes, and saw her late brother standing there, his eyes blackened. His face was blooded, and his hands gripped Xiaoyu's throat. Though just a dream, she found distinct handprints on her neck while washing her face. The next day, Omu visited Xiaomi in the hospital. He hadn't rested a wink in 2 days. So he apologized in the hospital and insisted Omu take a break. Right after Omu left, he climbed into her bed. Looking deeply at the comatose girl, he thought that he was actually the one who loved her most, wondering, what's my flaw? He never imagined he would get caught up in his own feelings and, taking advantage of her unconsciousness, leaned in and kissed her. Little did he know, Xiaomi chose that moment to wake up, startling Omu out of his wits. However, seeing that Xiaomi didn't reject him, the chef grew even bolder. Suddenly, time snapped to the afternoon, and Omu had vanished. The other three returned to the ward, finding Xiaomi in much better condition. She even insisted on being discharged immediately to grab some drinks with the gang, acting as if the weird happenings never occurred. But later that evening, Xiaomi received a sudden call from Xiaomi urging her to come to her room for a chat. She just happened to bump into Omu, who looked like he'd lost his mind emerging from his room. No matter how Xiaomi called out, he didn't notice her. The situation left her utterly confused, so she headed into Xiaomi's room. To her dismay, she saw Xiaomi holding an invisible object. Upon approaching, she found Xiaomi's eyes had gone pure white. At that moment, Omu was driving around, repeatedly apologizing as if on the brink of a mental collapse, speeding up uncontrollably. The scene swiftly returns to Xiaomi, her voice turning childlike. Another shift, and her brother appears. Xiaomi appeared very guilty at her brother's return, profusely apologizing to him. But her brother clearly wasn't having any of it, and in the next room, Xiaomi stumbled across the footage Omu had recorded. She saw the doll had split and then slowly noticed Xiaomi's mouth opening, a wave of unease washing over her. She bolted into Xiaomi's room, just in time to see Xiaomi being controlled, attempting to hang herself. Meanwhile, Xiaomi, who couldn't complete her plan, fainted altogether.